Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reportedly sounding out members of his coalition government as to whether they'd quit if he signed a ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza. There's been another weekend of protests against the Netanyahu government's handling of the negotiations, as the Prime Minister and his cabinet are accused of prolonging the war for political gain. Middle East correspondent Matthew Doran is in Jerusalem.
While Benjamin Netanyahu is facing significant and sustained pressure from the international community to end the war in Gaza, given the devastating humanitarian situation in the territory, he is also facing growing domestic anger about his handling of negotiations for a ceasefire and a hostage deal, particularly with around 100 hostages still held by Hamas. That has spilled onto the streets of Tel Aviv for another weekend, with thousands demanding action from the Prime Minister and accusing him of putting off a deal because he's worried any relative peace could tear his government apart. The fragile coalition government which Benjamin Netanyahu leads includes a number of far-right members, including two he has put inside his cabinet. One of them, the National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has already threatened to quit the government if a deal is struck, saying that military pressure is the only way to bring an end to this war. It's now being reported in local media that Benjamin Netanyahu is sounding out the other member of his cabinet, the Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, to see whether he can be convinced of the merits of a deal and not quit the ministry and therefore plunge the Netanyahu government into chaos. Some hostage families and the families of Israeli troops are taking a harder line, hopeful the incoming Trump administration will help their cause and demanding military pressure on Hamas to continue.
Don't push for a deal that's going to bring us back to October 6th. We have an expectation from you as the American president to support the Israeli government to achieve the two goals: to destroy the Hamas and to bring all hostages one time, all of them.
The head of the Israeli spy agency Mossad has been dispatched to the negotiations in Qatar, which is being seen as a sign of progress. But at multiple junctures throughout the course of this war, progress has been promoted and hasn't amounted to much at all. And it can't come soon enough, any deal that is, for those directly involved in this war, with 100 hostages, Israeli hostages, still being held by Hamas, and local authorities saying more than 46,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since the conflict began, with Israeli airstrikes continuing to this day.